Capital cities are typically the economic and political hub of nations. It is from within these cities that the key decision-making and application processes for entire countries are made. However, not all capitals are the same, and many countries have different variations of them. So for this video, we're going to dive into the different variations of capital cities. The first variation of capital cities are primate cities. These are the cities that far exceed any other city in a particular country. These cities set the political mood of the entire country, combined with the wider population relying on them due to their wider ability to provide services. The dominance of primate cities can often alienate the rest of the population. However, it is through their economic output, political influence, and the high population that these cities have, that these cities are often conflated with the wider country as a whole. Some capitals are planned out to even out the population, while others are planned as a compromise. In the case of Turkey, the largest city, Istanbul, after the Turkish War of Independence, was no longer the capital city. Instead, the small village of Ankara became the capital. Ankara benefited from being concentrated in the middle of the country and being connected to the wider road and rail network of Turkey, as well as being far away from any potential invaders. In the case of Brazil's capital, Brasilia, the city was chosen to encourage inward development and migration, as the cities on the Brazilian coast, such as Rio de Janeiro, have become way too overpopulated. Brasilia is often touted as a good example of a planned capital, while the opposite is true for the capital of Myanmar, Naypyidaw, which is one of the most abandoned cities in the world. So empty that the British car program Top Gear managed to have a drag race right through the main city highway. Compromise plays a role in planned capitals, with Canberra becoming the capital of Australia, as a compromise between the larger cities of Melbourne and Sydney. In Nigeria, Abuja was chosen for its central location and to act as a compromise between the often divided sectors of Nigeria's population. Kazakhstan's capital, Nur-Sultan, or better known as Astana, was chosen after the fall of the Soviet Union and to give the country a new lift after its newly found independence. The city today is highly modern and futuristic and is developed to represent the future of Kazakhstan as a whole. The capital of Canada was chosen as a birthday wish by Queen Victoria, perhaps as a compromise between the larger cities of Toronto and Vancouver. She chose the little-known frontier town of Ottawa. Moving capitals isn't an old habit. As recently as 2019, Burundi moved its capital from the city of Bujumbura to the largest city, Gitega, as the city had a more central location and it was the traditional capital of the Kingdom of Burundi. Sometimes fate plays its role and forces countries to abandon their capitals. In the case of Belize, a giant hurricane caused the country to move its capital from Belize City to the more cool-sounding city of Balikpapan. Indonesia also plans to move its capital from Jakarta to a new city on the island of Borneo. This is to balance political power in the country, and also because the city of Jakarta is way too overpopulated and it's sinking. It is estimated that rising sea levels may bury Jakarta in the future, so the Indonesian government is acting quickly to save the city, but it will also move the capital. While most countries have a set capital, for some countries one is just not enough. In the case of South Africa, the country has 3 capitals. This goes back to the founding of the country and the creation of the Union of South Africa. Bloemfontein is the judicial capital, Pretoria is the administrative capital, and Cape Town is the legislative capital of the country. Bolivia has 2 capitals, with the cities of Sucre and La Paz operating in this capacity. The Netherlands likewise technically has 2 capitals, with Amsterdam being the largest city and The Hague being home to the country's government. A similar situation exists in Chile, with Santiago being the largest city and Valparaiso being home to the Chilean Congress. Are there any other curious capitals I missed? Let me know in the comments, and thanks for watching this video.